I graduated high school at 16 and went straight to college. And I was about done, and I got into a car accident. And it was in 1994. I was 18. So after that, I had seizures, so I was pretty well done with school for a little while.
At my handball court, when I was chasing after a ball, my friends saw me collapse and everything, and I hit the wall, and I was out for about 2 hours after that. And I got picked up later on, and they took me to the hospital, and that's when I kind of found out that I really did have epilepsy. So, yeah.
My seizures began when I was a freshman in high school. I ran the mile in PE, and after you run the mile, they tell you to walk it off, and I did, and I got to some grass, and the next thing I knew, I was staring up in a paramedic's face, and I was diagnosed with epilepsy, and that's how my seizures began. And after the different experiments with drugs and different levels of medications, I went back to my neurologist, and he suggested VNS Therapy.
My name is Jamie Politis. I'm 27. Worked pretty hard all my life, I think. I've gone to school and wanted to get out early, so.
My name is Steve DeVos. I work for University of California, San Diego in the External Relations Department. I've had epilepsy since 9th grade, my freshman year in high school.
Hi, my name is Nolan. I'm 16 years old. I go to Edison High School. I work at the local fair, and I like biking, and I like hang out with my friends.
I think the goal of the treatment of epilepsy is pretty straightforward, and that is to optimize a person's quality of life. But what that means really is two things. First, to improve the control of the seizures, and second, to minimize the side effects that can occur as a result of therapy.
Most of the time, it was every August I'd start at baseball again because that was showed up as my favorite sport. And until minor A, I had to take medication again, and it slowed me down in the last years. So I had to give it up later on. So, yeah.
I went back to school and finished up my degree. I only had a couple classes left, but it took me a couple years to finish them because I had to wait for my friends to take the classes too. I couldn't take them by myself, just in case I had a seizure or something happened. I couldn't remember which way to go to class, which way to meet my friends if they were to walk me to class.
I love psychology, and I love the study of psychology, and yet with the reading and being with the level of medication I was on, I would read a page and my eyes would start closing on me. And I would be so tired, I'd be yawning, and the words just wouldn't make sense anymore, and I would just curl up and go to sleep after a page of reading. It actually ended up, I had to change my major because of it, because it was just too much reading.
With certain medications that I tried, my memory would be really bad. I'd be sleepy, I couldn't think, I couldn't put thoughts together, I couldn't even put sentences together sometimes.
In about 2/3 of patients, medications do control epilepsy well. The converse is that means that about 1/3 of people, even with a combination of medications, will not experience good control of their seizures.
It's very difficult as a parent to not be able to help your child. As a parent, you can kiss the boo-boos, you can work some magic, and you can make everything okay for your child. In the case of the epilepsy with Nolan, there was nothing we could do. Let's say that we were doing our very best, but everything we were doing really was not successful for Nolan.
The drugs I was taking were somewhat suppressing it, but I still had small seizures here and there where I'd actually pass out for a little bit, but then I'd wake up and wonder where I was.
Recent studies tell us that if the first couple of medications don't bring the seizures under good control, then alternative treatment should be considered.
I've tried probably 20 different anticonvulsants, and I've lost hair on my head, I've gained hair on my face, I've gained weight up to 170 pounds, I've lost weight down to 115.
The exciting thing is that over the last 10 years, there have been many new treatments for seizures and epilepsy. There are many new medicines that are now available, and there are devices for epilepsy, specifically vagus nerve stimulation therapy.
A friend of mine who is in the fire service and who does a lot of emergency medicine and looking at new techniques out there suggested that I take a look at the internet, in particular the VNS Therapy. I started reading about it and became really excited. I started asking a lot of questions, and as it turns out, the neurologist was familiar with it and also felt that VNS would possibly be a good thing for Nolan.
My doctor told me about VNS Therapy. He explained everything about it, and I felt that was the best choice.
We went to a meeting and learned more about it, learned about some patients, talked to some patients who had it, and the more I learned about VNS therapy, the more I liked it.
I believe that vagus nerve stimulation therapy should be considered in anyone over 12 years old in whom their seizures are not well controlled by anti-epileptic medications. VNS therapy is a medical device. It's composed really of two parts. The first part of the device is the pacemaker-like generator. You can see that it's actually quite small and very thin. This is the part that sends the electrical signal back to the vagus nerve. And how it does it is along this very thin wire, and this wire is what connects to the vagus nerve itself. These very small electrical signals travel back to the brain, where they act to decrease the intensity and frequency of seizures. The most common side effects of vagus nerve stimulation therapy is hoarseness of voice, shortness of breath, and cough.
I had trouble with my voice, a lot of trouble. It'd be real hoarse when VNS turned on, and it was a little sore right here, but I got used to it, and I think my voice is pretty much back to normal.
When we look at studies that address side effects specifically, what we find is that patients have a reduction of their side effects over time.
I had a lot of problems from medications and side effects from those, and also from the seizures. I began VNS therapy my senior year in college, and shortly thereafter, I graduated from UCSD, and now I work for UCSD. I raise private funds for the university, and VNS therapy has really helped me to succeed in that job. I love what I do, I love the people I work with, and because I'm on a reduced amount of medications, the side effects have been reduced, and my seizure level has been reduced, and I'm able to really succeed at my job.
Regarding the surgery, we met with the doctor, the surgeon, and the VNS therapy representatives to discuss the details of the surgery. No one was there for the whole thing. We listened to everything. We went home and thought about it, and no one actually made the decision.
Well, anytime you think of surgery, you're going to be a little apprehensive just because it's surgery. But the more I discussed it with my doctor, I was able to meet with the surgeon. Any fears I had about the surgery quickly melted away.
The procedure itself is simple and takes usually less than 1 hour. It's typically performed under general anesthesia, and in many centers is same-day surgery.
I was scared of scars. I didn't want anything too bad, but I can't see the scar very well on my neck. Nobody's ever really mentioned it. Only one person has really mentioned it to me, and that was just in the very beginning when I first had it because it was dark, but it has healed up very well. It's just right there.
When discussing the success rate of vagus nerve stimulation therapy, there are really two main issues. One is, how well does it work to reduce seizures? And what was found was this, that at 3 months, 23% of people had their seizures reduced by 50% or more. At 1 year, the number was 37%. At 2 and 3 years, this number had increased to 43%. The second issue is quality of life. In studies that have looked at this specifically, many people report improvements in alertness, mood, and memory. And just as seizures improve over time with vagus nerve stimulation therapy, so do these other aspects.
After I started having seizures, I couldn't drive anymore. And I ended up hiring drivers here and there when I wanted to go somewhere. And since I was paying drivers all the time, I thought maybe it'd be an investment to purchase my own limousine and start my own business. This was a lot of fun. I was able to work really hard and actually stay up late and do things. I had more energy than I did before. And I have my driver, Tony, I think the best driver in the world.
There's something that allows a person to have greater control over their seizures. Every person who receives a vagus nerve stimulator also receives a magnet, just like this one. This is the magnet they would use to help control their seizures better. In other words, if you feel your seizure, or if a family member recognizes that a seizure is beginning, this magnet would be applied to the surface of the skin right over the device to send a small electrical impulse which can control the seizures on the spot.
All of my friends know about the magnet. My roommates know, and my family. They all know how to use it, when to use it, and what to do.
One of the features unique to VNS therapy is that there are no interactions with anti-epileptic medications. Not only that, but because the VNS is working 24 hours a day, remembering to take your medication, or in this case, remembering VNS, is not an issue. The device is working on its own. You're the person that needs to decide what options are going to work best. This applies to medications or vagus nerve stimulation, and it's really only with discussions with a physician and finding out as much information as you can, not only about epilepsy, but also about the treatment options that are available, can you make the best decision that will improve your quality of life.
As far as school is concerned, he has gone from just barely being able to hang in there through the day at school to being an excellent student. He's got a career path that has a lot of choices. He has indicated an interest in possibly becoming a fireman paramedic. Nolan has a life. He's able to do everything that anyone else can do. He rides his bike, not just a little bit, but a lot. He rides for miles, and I can feel confident that he's okay.
It gives me a lot more freedom. It gives me a lot more independence. I think that's one of the biggest things.
I don't have to worry about any boundaries. I don't have to worry about limitations of what I can do in the future, and I'm able to do a lot of things that I enjoy, backpacking, hiking, all of these things, and I don't have to worry about the seizures or side effects from medication, and I really enjoy it.
There are many ways to find out more on the treatment of seizures and epilepsy. The first is a discussion with your physician. In addition, there's a comprehensive program called Avenues, specifically designed to provide more information for vagus nerve stimulation therapy. In addition, it provides contact with nurse specialists and other healthcare workers in the area who can answer questions that you may have regarding VNS therapy.
After a physician introduced us to VNS Therapy, we were contacted by a VNS support person, and we basically had no problems at all.
We receive the Avenues newsletter right now. It's helpful because you get to read about other people's personal testimonials. One of the really special things that Avenues allows you to do is to participate in the program, that is to offer support to other people.
The main reason that I went into medicine is to help other people. And what I've realized is that it comes down to two things. One is the help that I can provide as a physician. But more than that, it's helping people to understand how to take control of their illness and make their lives better.